Gee, what's that noise?
Cool. I think that's everyone. Yeah, hello everyone. Good evening. Yeah, so you're going to have to bear with me on this because it's been a while since I've actually built case studies and back tested stuff, but I will show you basically the process that I used to use, or like, yeah, it would have changed now a little bit because of other stuff, but yeah, like basically how to build a proper case study, like top down, right? Lewis, keep an eye on the waiting room, mate. If you can hear me, I think I'm muted you as well.
That's better. Yeah, I'm admitting people.
Yeah, cool. Right. So yeah, basically you have a chart and you have your Notion. Right, what pair are you? What is this? Oh, okay. Right, so let's back test the really high probability trade. So yeah, this one up here, right? So the way I would first go about it, right? You have all of this stuff here, right? Trends, confluences, how you grade the trade, all of this sort of stuff, right? And areas for, we'll just open it like this. So we have areas for, yeah, HGF, daily 4H, 1M, 15M, 5M, all of this sort of stuff, right? Obviously, this is like, I don't really use 4H or I use 4H. I don't use 1H and 5M anymore, but yeah, it's not the point. But right, so you just have, status, and you can use this, like, I'll share this if I can figure out how to. I've never been very good with Notion, but if I can figure out how to, I'll share this thing, right? So you can do, okay, active win, right? EU, you can tell this is all because all of this shit on it. JR30, trading DAX. Sure, right, then we put, and it's always good to log like all of these various things, right? Like what session, what time, what, all of this sort of stuff, right? So you just go here, include time, and you do whenever this is. Let's go and have a look. Right, so say we're taking the trade from here, right? We'll just do this one, for example, because I would say that is the highest probability trade that day. Right, so we do just fill in all of this sort of stuff, right? And just here, what time would we get filled on this trade? Comes up to fill at specifically just before 3 o'clock, right? So this is like, this is a point where, like Rishab gets a lot of his sort of stuff from, is because he notices times around stuff, right? So 3 o'clock is a very high probability time for him because he's built stuff like this around it, right? So 1500. That changes here. Yeah, 3 p.m. Cool. So, and close, we can fill that in later, right? Duration, don't know. So HDF, we have a HDF continuation, right? And this is where I'd start like marking everything up, right? I'd be like, okay, how can I classify this trade as a continuation? Well, what I can see is that we've had a break below here, right? And this is also like during your screen, like when you're screenshotting trades, right? You want to like write all stuff like this down, right? So what would I be saying here? I would be saying that, cool. So that's a bit big. Yeah, right. So for H structure, will work 4H. Yeah. So we've got you're like writing nicely to like this is why I know stuff like this trade is always the one that fucking books it, right? Because this trade is the second lower high, right? I noticed this across like I was like, yeah, okay, well this starts making sense, right? Then we can mark up, cool. We've got a lower high here. We'll keep that there as a thing. Like I'll normally have like a little thing up here, just saying like the whole idea behind the trade, right? And then I'll have things like, cool, well, this high. Right, this high. Yeah, so you're just like noting down all of this sort of stuff, right? So you can start building really clear ideas of what very, very high probability trades look like, right? And we can say, yeah, and this is how we're starting to classify this as a continuation, right? Because we know we're catching the second low high, all of this sort of stuff, right? What does this react to? Because this is going to be an SD flip as well. Is that? Yeah, cool. So does that tap into that? That's something on there, isn't it? That misses that. Actually beyond that. Okay, well that taps into like this whole range then. And this is how I start to notice stuff like, okay, well, this is not necessarily a reaction to a valid POI, but it's a reaction to a valid range, right? Because normally I'd be going, oh, well, this isn't valid, it hasn't hit this or this. But then you go back over enough of them that work, and you start seeing stuff like this, right? Yeah, this isn't really most of taps that which doesn't. Cool. So what else have we got? We have. So we have. Right. That's cool. So, like you see how many conferences we can start building around this specific trade now, right? Trades into premium, previous leg. right? And then I'd be like looking at this and going, okay, well, how can we know that is right, but how can we really validate that? Okay, cool. Like every handle here. Right, you see like every candle here trades lower, right? This trades lower than this trades lower than this trades lower than this. Logos, this is RSD, right? There's nothing else here that we could classify as STD at the moment, right? So yeah, I'd do something normally, I'd like connect them in some sort of way, just so I know that this is relevant to this basically. Right, and you can all like, you know, you can all figure out your own little ways of doing this sort of stuff. But yeah, this is what I would do. Just so I know that these 2 points are relevant, right? So I know how to classify that this supply level, right? Because everything trades lower, so this must be the supply level that took out this, right? Okay, cool. We see inducement built like here. We see these relative equal highs taken out. Yeah, cool. Relative equal high taken out inducement. Yeah, cool. Right. So yeah, that's a pretty good forage marker, right? So yeah, I'd copy, like I'd always copy a link over as well, just because, so you can see all the other bits as well. Copies. Okay, well, let's not do that today. Let's do that. Right, so forage, right? Then yeah. Oh, pretty. Yeah, I think this is why I stopped using Notion, because it started getting shit like this. But yeah, we've got a really good clean 4H markup, right? So from this, we gathered that we are trading a continuation. What else can we say? Well, we know that daily is down and we know that 4H is down, right? So cool, confluences, right? It's just been a while since I've used this. Order flow, obviously we would have a bunch of other confluences in here now, right? We'd have stuff like, you know, engulfing candle, well, we've got engulfing candle there, but yeah, engulfing candle, S to D, all of this sort of stuff, right? So yeah, let's just put a couple in. D, S, what else? Complex pullback, complex D, yeah. What else? Right, so you're building all of these confluences. So when you've gathered like 50 odd of these trades, right, and spend time doing it, right? Like each trade should, it's not like back testing when we did don't consider a wicked structure. No, structure's always body closes. But yeah, when you're doing these, spend time doing it, right? Because this is how you really build strong, like this is how I learned this much, because I did a lot of this, right? But yeah, so you start building all of this sort of stuff, right? So we've got all of these confluences around this, right? We know order flow is bearish because we're respecting these ranges, right? D2S, complex pullback, strong high low, inducement, premium discount. And then this is where you can start building, you know what I mean? You can go back over any trade that you take, you can go back and you can say, okay, well, how many of this confluences did this trade have? Right? Win or loss, doesn't matter, right? This is how you really develop strong data sets, right? And then, okay, cool. Well, now we can start going down onto 15M and start seeing what we see here, right? So, cool. What do we see here? Right. Well, here we see the first bearish break of structure. Right. What else do we see? So here we see. I wouldn't classify this as low high because it trades higher, right? But I would say that we have had multiple runs on buy side liquidity all the way up here. Right. What else have we got here? Here before and after we get into trade, what do we have? We have the weak low as a liquidity point, basically, which is not ideal, but yeah, so. So then we get another break here. Oh, no, that's something. Structure. All right. So then I would be saying that this really, because this trades above, right, this is our first confirmed lower high. Right. So again, what are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to catch that second lower high, right? So, cool. Definitely going to be an improvement. Top third of that. Yeah, top third of that. I think we're only going to be able to do this one, and it's too far back to do anything about it. shift and overflow there as well. See. Right, and these are all the sort of questions you need to be asking yourself. Yeah. Do you see? Does everyone see how I'm like the sort of level of detail that's really going to build your whole ideas around everything more and more and more? Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Good. Right. So cool. Now, how do we know? Like, when does this become a good trade to take? This is how, like, I start looking at stuff like, like, okay, well, if we're against 15M order flow and we've had an aggressive reaction, what do I really want to see? Well, I'm either going to trade from somewhere in here, right? If we mitigate something, which we don't, we just miss the mitigation, or I'm going to wait for 15M order flow to shift, right? So here, all right, and literally, I've spent fucking hours doing this shit, like hours and hours and hours and hours. I mean, Lewis will tell you how I used to. I don't know how many I've deleted all of them now because I trade a lot differently, but whatever. But I spend. I mean, this is why I just, my like I have a good read on like what I don't always, but when I have a good read on PA, it's generally pretty fucking spot on, right? Because I've spent so long staring at this shit. It's why I can take fucking trades on my phone. Like, because I'm just there, I've seen that shit before. Like, but yeah, cool. Okay, so here, yeah, I didn't really do that much testing on the bullet and the bomb, to be honest. I thought they were really easy. Like, well, I skipped the bomb because yeah, it was fucking pointless. And then I just tested the bullet on GJ, and then left. Mike, I have a question in terms of structure. I'm not Mike. Yeah, I don't know who you're talking to. I'm Sam, mate. I know Mr. Mike Wagner is the structure king at the moment, but yeah. What's up, mate? What about structure? So here we see a very 15-man church. Why does it stop fucking up? Hello, puppy. We're on structure on the earth, so perhaps aggressive. Yeah, fire away with your question, brother. Or not. But yeah, cool. Right. So then I take a screenshot of this, right? And you see what I mean? Like, you see how much detail we've got. That's a swing. That's a leg of swing structure, mate. Yeah. All that window stopped me from doing. Okay. That's a leg of swing structure, mate. Yeah. Sorry, I should have drawn a boss in there as well. But yeah, there's another boss. Yes, that's the leg, mate. Yeah, very definitely. Mainly because, and this is the other thing to notice, right? Like, we don't get a close below here, right? So this isn't a high. Oh, well, it is a high. It's an order flow high, like it's a supply range high, right? But that is the whole push, right? Because there's the last close below, this doesn't close below, so that is the whole push essentially, right? So that's the leg of price. Yes, makes sense. I'll take that as a yes. Yeah. What did cause internal was what way? Here, you're still confused. Oh, what? Here. Why don't we have this? Yeah, hold on. Because there's no close here, so we have no new structure, right? Structure has to close. Right, like this. If this closed below here, then yeah, then we've got a whole different fucking story, right? But we don't close below here, right? So this is still our whole push. Yeah, but we trade down to here, right? So that's the lowest point. That's the highest point. Like the leg is always the lowest and the highest point, right? It's not like loads of shit going on the screen at the moment. That's not distracting at all. Yeah, like, so how do you describe this? Right, so here is our break of structure, yes? I think we would all agree that this is the break of structure. Here we get a close below a swing low, right? So here, right, where does this push end? Right, this push ends here, right? This is the lowest point of this push, right? If this kind of created like new structure, then this becomes a high and this becomes one separate, like this becomes two separate pieces of price, right? But yeah, I mean, all of these squares and things aren't massively helping. For the body closures. Yeah, so it's like, it's basically the whole push, right? Like it's, yeah, like, oh, why have we done that? Yeah, it's the whole push, right? Like this is one push, right? There's no new structural points within here. Where do we get the retrace from? The retrace comes from here. This is our structural leg, right? If you went on like a higher time frame, you'd probably see it a bit clearer. Maybe 1H. Yeah, 1H. See? It's 1H push. You see? Pete was drawing a range. Yeah, we've got a range. Yeah. Yeah, we have a new range here, right? But it's not structure. Structure and order flow are different things. Right? I mean, the PA for the leg, but the body closes. Yeah, body closes are always structural points, right? So that's the only way we classify structure as a break and a close below that level, right? Not a new, like yeah, this would be a new supply range, right? But not a new structural high, basically, right? So yeah, although we get a change in order flow here, that's why we've written this here. We also have a shift in M15 order flow because we get a change of character here. That's why we want to see this change of character here. Yeah, cool. Yeah, sweet. All right, so yeah, cool. Now we've got minus M15 markup. We can go and put this in M15 thing. Right, and when you've built like, and the idea, right, is to create, 30 plus of these minimum, right? Per like, I mean, nowadays I don't, but yeah, like per element that I used to put in, I create like this, right? Now I think a bit more fluidly about stuff and things like that, but yeah, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so cool. Now we've got this, right? Now we can just go down to the entry and we can say, okay, well, what happens here? Well, here we see that change of character, right? Here we see the SD flip. Right, so we can just write all that stuff down again. All right, and and just like note down like anything you see, right? Like, okay, this wick here this runs two previous can be by this. Right, so if you've noticed something like this, right, this runs this candle and this candle, right, runs the highs. So a question you may need to ask yourself in the future is, does that classify a sweep? Like, how many candles do you want to see swept? Who did the yellow notes? Oh, I can delete them. Yeah, exactly. But does that make sense? Yeah. So you can then start classifying. Okay, well, this I can classify as a sweep, right? This is how I noticed structure in the end, like why I classified it the way I did, right? Like the way I do it with daily being 100 pips, swinging being 40 pips, and 15 and being 13 pips, right? Because I just kept going over, and I was like, well, a lot of the time something's not making sense in structure, so maybe I need to classify it in a different way, right? Maybe I need to classify it by size, because sometimes you'll see this little pause. Like I was very like, okay, if I'm looking at something like this, right, this is all structure, right? This is all like swing structure, right? Because we're seeing highs create lows, right? But what I kept noticing was that sometimes we'd see something like this happen, right? Then the market trade back into here and fuck off, right? And this ended up with me coming up with the conclusion that swing structure should be over 13 pips, because this might have been 8 pips or something, right? So I'm thinking, oh, it's gone bullish. I can trade the pullback now. I'm not noticing that this is actually swing structure. It's just the range that's being used as inducement for this level here, right? But yeah. And yeah, like this is, like all of this sort of shit's important, right? Like this sort of stuff. So here we see a 15 bearish structure. Right, cool. Okay, so that means if we see an aggressive reaction like this, because this initially, right, if you're looking at this isn't massively something you want to trade into, right? Like the market just smashed through a high, right, and is impulsing, right? So when's the safe time to take this trade? Well, when this low goes, right? But we know that because we have seen this happen over and over and over and over again, right? But yeah, it's all like that, right? And then you just classify all of this shit. We'll just leave that at that, because otherwise it's going to start being wrong. But yeah, get a screenshot of that, right? And then you've got all of these really detailed markups you can go over when you built all of these different things, right? You can go over them, and you can go over all of the different data points. You can write, okay, that's another way I got my stop down to 1, because I was like, well, every fucking trade that I win, I don't need more than a pip of stop. So I'm just going to drop it to a pip, because it means, if I'm going to take a loss, probably going to fucking take a loss whatever happens, right? So I may as well get the best risk reward I can out of it. That means I can be an idiot more often, right? So yeah, like that's, I won't ever trade a pip bigger than a stop, or a stop bigger than a pip, because of that, right? Like another one is, noticing the, internal chotches, stuff like that, like here to hit, right? That creates this as a high probability trade. Always more difficult to spot, but that's my point. But yeah, it's how you learn, right? It's gathering all of these little data points, right? And then you can go, yeah, cool, entry, right, okay. Right, and then you can go to, all right, well, now if I'm looking at this, reasonably, where am I looking at this trade go? Right, I've got all of these confluences on my side. How many times is this trade going to take out this low? Well, yeah, 9.9 times out of 10, that trade's taking out that low, right? So then it's like, okay, well, where do I look for my first partials below this? And then you can go, okay, well, 4H is doing this, so I can look for a 4H level, because I know this is 4H low. Where's the next 4H level? Next 4H level is over here, right? So that is my logical point for first partials, right? The demand zone, that's the next place we can expect pullback, right? So then you can, write stuff like that. and you can like also like put comments in it, like write about the trade. Like here, somewhere. I don't know if anyone's good with Notion and knows how to build templates, but if someone wants to, because I'm not, but if someone wants to jump on with me, we can develop a Notion template for the community. Yeah. And then like idea behind trade is but yeah, like it's a higher time frame continuation, continuing the bearish structure, all of this sort of stuff, right? Like be detailed about it, be diligent about it, right? This is what separates you from every other mug that comes to try and trade forex, right? And fails, and then decides that they are, it's everyone else's fault apart from their own, right? It's not. Right? It's once you start. Why do you think I'm so fucking confident in my trading process? Right? Because I did this so much. Right? So much. Like it's all I did for months, as well as trade. But yeah, it's like literally I work 60, 80 hours a week, 100-hour weeks sometimes, just doing this, trading, journaling, all of this sort of stuff. I don't really do it the same anymore because I don't need to, right? But yeah, like all of this stuff will change the way you trade because you see this stuff repeatedly again and again and again and again and again. Like, yeah, months and months and months and months and months and months of source. Yeah, Lewis knows how much I did. Yeah, exactly, mate. I am the market. But now, like that's it though. Like my understanding's just got good from it. Right. So that's why I'm happy to take these and take a break even on them because I know these trades probably 6 times out of 10 these are going to run the low. Right. This time they didn't pay out such as luck. But yeah, you have to be fully obsessed with everything. Right? Like this shit will. I mean, we all know the power of this stuff, right? We all know how much fucking money, how much freedom, how much everything it can give you if you get it right. But takes effort, takes work, takes time. It's not simple shit. This. But yeah, does that make sense to everyone? Like how to log it all like that, right? Yeah. Is this different to how everyone was doing it? Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, and we've all seen how fucking far you've come on, mate. Yeah, like, yeah, how you do it, right? Like, do this every night. Yeah, exactly. And it ends up paying dividends, right? Like, yeah, got EODs, yeah, perfect. Immersion with all the details, yeah, exactly. Just keep doing it. But really, like, this is another thing. If you want to focus on one thing, like if you just want to focus on POI selection, right, create another different little template and just say, okay, POI select. I want to backtest POIs. That's all I want to backtest, right? So I am going to go and I'm going to figure out every single thing about or the most high probability things of how POIs become to be high probability, right? Like, so here, right, this is engulfed, blah, 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 and go and see like where every fucking drop in the market comes from, right? Okay, here, no, so this reacts to this range. Okay, cool. So we have another range there. Cool. Does this react to anything? Sorry, excuse me. No, this reacts to this range here, but that's fine. This reacts to this engulf POI. Right, and you can start seeing like how aggressive the moves are away from the engulf POIs, right? Here you can say, okay, this one reacts to wicks. But specifically, I bet this one comes, and this would be something that I would notice, right, is that this one doesn't come to the range. This one literally comes to that last buy there. Right? I bet you if we went down time frames down, it's going to be, I'm just going to go for PRI some time frame. Yeah, there we go. No, let's see if we can get that lower. Oh, fuck off. Yeah, it's probably an engulf PRI. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah. Yeah, another good way is actually doing videos as well. I know a few people that haven't done that. I never have. I mean, I make videos for review, which helps me out. But yeah, make videos of yourself. Talk to yourself about it. You know, do all that sort of shit. But yeah, does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Take that as a yes. Yeah. Cool. Daddy. I find it really weird when guys call me daddy. But anyway, cool. Does anyone have any questions? Something like this, and I'm building a trade plan. Yeah, cool. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, once. I mean, that's all. Once you've got all of your data sets, right? Then you just go through all of them and you develop them into a plan. Trades of today, please. I took. What did I take today? I took this. No, I didn't take that. I took this up here. But yeah, I was going through this with someone. The best trade of the day, in my opinion, was probably this short here. Yeah, it's just really big. You've got 15M bearish, you've got everything else bearish. 1M becomes bearish, comes back to retest this, and seconds goes bearish there. Unmute you. No, I don't like you, Skip. I don't know. Lewis, can you unmute Skip, please? Lewis has probably run off.
Hey, Sketchy. Yeah. Very rude, mate.
Sorry, I thought you knew me.
Yeah, blame it on Lewis, hey.
Yeah,
just wanted to sort of go over, like, today, I sort of, you know, probably the same as everyone else, saw the highs this week. So I took shorts. I've only took shorts today, personally, myself. I think I've took maybe 5 shorts, 2 BEs and maybe 3 running 40R or something like that. So it was actually quite a good day. But I'm just wondering, you know, some people took there was a long this morning that
about this.
missed. I think maybe that as well.
This long here or this long here?
Oh, it was quite early morning, like in London or something like that.
This one? Yeah, this one, mate. This one was literally a bit of a punt, to be honest. I didn't expect it to go that well.
Yeah, those punts are sort of what I want to work out how to get involved in.
So, right, if we look at this, right, we can see that we've got some form of bullish order flow, right? This range is being respected at this point in time, right? If we look at M15, it's not like
second mitigation. The second time it's mitigated, it's been respected, yeah, because it's already been respected once.
Yeah, exactly, right. And then we get this change of character here, right? I took a break even getting into this a bit earlier, but yeah, like and then again, it's like I said, like extremes, right? You can be like extremes. If you see a reaction at an extreme and you can actually validate the extreme, it's important to note that you can actually validate the extreme, right?
Yeah.
That it's something, all of this sort of stuff. Like, it's the last place. This right is literally the last fucking place that this low can hold. Otherwise, we're just going straight to hell, right? Yeah. I didn't think we'd do that because we had only mitigated this range here. Right, we hadn't mitigated this PI. This was like my overall target. I took like heavy partials above this high. I was like, well, that's big.
With week 4 hour high, obviously, yeah.
yeah, like what I wasn't trading this like because this isn't this is at premium, right?
Yeah.
This is not a trade that is going to take out this high.
Right.
Like, trades rarely like it's that whole intraday pricing theory thing, right? London will rarely break structure from premium. Well, London will rarely break a high from premium, right? It doesn't really make enough sense. Sorry, I can't remember what supply that was, mate. I'll have a look in a second.
I had that marked up anyway. It was like, I don't know. I think it was like a 1 minute flip or something from another area. I had it marked up, and it was a wick. It was actually a 1 minute wick or something like that. And I had it marked up, and then I went on to the 5 seconds, and there was no there was obviously a massive reaction, obviously, and that was the open. But it didn't chalk and come back down for an entry. So I sort of pushed it out.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, I was in bed and I saw that wick into that, right? And then reject, and I just hit buy, basically, like there.
Yeah. But I've had like a one-on-one with you when things are like, if everything's bearish, you know what I mean? You want a 15-minute chalk, and if 15-minute hasn't chalked, I've only just sort of started to use the seconds now. So I'm trying to go to like if there's 1 minute refine that has been engulfed, to just go straight up on a 5 second reaction. You know what I mean? I don't really have a in between. It's either fucking super aggressive or it's not.
Yeah. How do I explain this? Yeah,
that makes sense anyway. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, maybe it doesn't.
Extremes are the times I'll be like really aggressive, right? Are either at extremes or after a break of structure and mitigation, right? Yeah. So like if we come into, I would class this as the extreme of this. I wouldn't class it as it is the extreme of this range here.
Yeah, right? But the level.
So this is the last point this range can hold, right? So cool. If we see a rejection, we can say, okay, that range may hold or it may not, right? But like it may hold, so we can take that trade to run that up, right? And then we can, take some profits and then watch it completely melt that. But
it's just hard to see like what, I don't know if there's a rule that you have, for example, of like what you'd be like super aggressive in, or what you wouldn't be super aggressive in. Like, I mean, at that stage, everything was bearish, I mean, it was a validated POI, I think on the 1 minute, and it wasn't engulfed or blah, 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 but it was also against all the time frames, you know what I mean? So how is there any validity to
it's just the extreme. Like if it's an extreme, I'll be aggressive, basically.
Yeah, right.
Like extreme, like valid extremes that have done something, right? Like at this point, like I did not fucking expect this to do this, right? Like I didn't expect it to run the 40 hits in 3 minutes. You never do, right? Like the trade I took here, I didn't expect that to do that, right? Who fucking expects that shit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All I was expecting when I took this trade, right, was I think, right, if I'm looking at this, right, and I'm like I was just looking at this on the 1 right, and I was like, all right, well, we've built all of these fucking points of liquidity here. These equal lows, right? These equal lows. These relative equal lows, right? This extreme, right, has taken out liquidity as well, right? And like giving us a nice strong push to the upside. We've seen a flip here. Even the flip's been induced there, right? So cool. Okay, we see a tap into this, right? Have we got liquidity target? Yeah, massively, right? So the whole point of this trade is basically at this point in time, right, coming into the session open, right, where do we have the most available liquidity to us right now, right? Like this is like
the time there's still like sorry to interrupt, there's still like double bottoms. Do you know what I mean? Like, but where the most available is obviously sweeping those highs.
Yeah, like we've just taken out all of this, right? So we have much more of like the short-term liquidity available to us right now is all above here.
Yeah, all right. Cheers, mate. Yeah, completely makes sense. Yeah, I just pussied out and I saw it. I was just like, "There's no way that this could actually work." So I sort of fucking pussied out. But anyway,
Don't stress me. Like at the end of the day, this is a trade you need to now log, right? And go, okay, how many times have I seen this?
yeah,
Like how many times do you see this?
yeah.
Right?
Well, you can even take a quick 20R and fuck it off. You know what I mean? Like you can take it at those equal highs or whatever, and just you've had a good day.
Yeah, literally, mate. Like that. I mean, that takes out. Like I pulled like 80% above that, right? I held 20% to there, which I took break even on. But yeah,
Like
that was like literally. I think that will probably.
Was that like 2 million or something?
Nice, right? Like that was. Sorry, mate.
Was that about 2 million or something? Was it?
So what?
Was that like 2 million or like 1.5?
Oh, no. It was a decent chunk of money, mate. So, yeah. it's not the point. You know, I don't know.
No, I appreciate it. I completely understand that. So I appreciate the explanation.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, wicked.
Basically, take the fucking take the chance or lose out, which is yeah.
I've had a fucking a bad couple of months. I've got a few percent to play with. Do you know what I mean? I don't mind. Like it's an extreme. It rejected it. It ran a lot of liquidity.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah.
I'll take a pump for a 1 to 20, mate. I can get that. That's not going to go wrong 20 times in a row.
Yeah, mate. Yeah,
right? Like that's won't go wrong 20 times in a row. So you know, I can lose that trade sometimes and still be break even.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go over this thing tomorrow. Sorry, I'll let this go, but I'll go over this thing tomorrow and you know, try and find other areas where exactly the same thing has happened and try and
just go and look at all of these big reactions, right? Like this is like go and look like, okay, over here, why do we get this reaction here? You know, what happens down here? Why do we get, you know, where are other fucking like nuts moves like that? You know, even that's not so nice. Down here, you know, this move up here, why do we get this? You know, what happens over here when we get this? All of this sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
All right.
Really appreciate it. Let someone else ask a daft question, eh?
Mm-hmm. Use one trade. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so anyone else got any questions about anything? What do I expect for tomorrow? Probably, in all honesty, price to continue fucking around in this gigantic range because it's NFP on Friday. Like, I'd be surprised if we broke this range before NFP. Right now, what it looks like it's setting up to do, to me, is it's building equal highs here and it's building like equal lows here. Right, that we're probably going to take out into NFP and then die, or we're going to leave these equal highs intact, build all this liquidity here, bounce into something in here, and then take out all of this. Basically, those are sort of two options at the moment. But right now, yeah, like in all honesty, I would probably expect it to range a fair bit tomorrow. But yeah, cool. Yeah, price might go down. Yeah, definitely go to the right. It's actually very good, mate. But yeah, cool. Right, guys. If is it going? Yeah, exactly. If it's going left, you want to stop smoking so much weed. But yeah, cool. All right, guys. Well,
hey, mate, what's happening?
Oh,
60.
He's still not muted. He doesn't realise. Yeah, cool, guys. Right, I will chat to you all later, and I will speak to you later, guys. Have a good one. All right.